Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. Today we're back to a fitness boosting, calorie burning, technique refining 30-minute row. Woohoo! Now this is going to work quite well either as a standalone when you want to just do a little bit of work on technique and things, but it's also going to be sitting there as week 2, session 5 of the 2K Redux plan. Redux meaning redo, because I'm going back over the 2K plan and trying to make it better. Now what we're going to do for this 30-minute row today is we're going to do 4 minutes at 20 strokes a minute and 2K plus 18, and then you know I'm a fan of power strokes, but instead of doing a big old power stroke and trying to get as much out of our legs as we can at 20 strokes a minute, we're going to drop to 15 strokes a minute for 1 minute, but we're going to still hold 2K plus 18. So we're not talking super power, we're just talking about a little bit of a squeeze at 15 strokes per minute. Now, if you did week 2 session 4 as your previous workout, then this should be very much welcomed, as week 2 session 4 was a killer. And like I keep on saying all the way through that workout, that one was one that you could just alternate along with these kind of low rate bottom tier ones, and you will get better at your 2K time just because of doing that one. If you haven't done it, please check it out. You basically go 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute at your 2K stroke rate and pace. And by George, is it a tough workout. Anyway, right. Let's get into our 4-minute warm-up for today's nice bottom tier, though. Let's forget about yesterday's or the day before's or whatever row. So we're going to do our 4-minute warm-up as always. Start off by setting up your machine. Go to the drag factor, set it where you want to be. If you don't know what drag factor is, please check out the video I have on the YouTube channel. Next up, whoa, look at my monitor. Look at your monitor and set it so that it's at eye height. Woo! And it was really ruined like that. So you don't have to look up and you don't have to look down. I should really start again, shouldn't I? And then finally go to your foot straps and set them so they cover the bottom lace in your shoe. Or if you're in socks like me, they should let you bend comfortably forwards at the front. The point being, you want to be able to hinge in so you can get your shins into a nice vertical position, not past or not too far past, and certainly you want to make it so that you're not bound in so you can't quite get too vertical. Right. I mean, I'd fire myself, but anyway. Let's get into a 4-minute warm-up. We're going to start 18 strokes per minute, and we're going to be doing it at a nice gentle pace to start and building through. Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, let's go. And by gentle, I just mean connect with your arms and legs. Maybe if you really need a pace, then aim for about 2K plus 30 at first. And then as you go through this first minute of the warm-up, start building it up to get closer to 2K plus 22. Now when I'm talking about 2K pace, what I mean is that you row a 2,000 meter time trial, and then you take your final time and divide it by 4. And that gives you your average time to cover 500 meters in that 2,000 meter time trial. And if you set your monitor to show you your current pace to cover 500 meters, then that's what I'm on about. So you would look at that and work it out that you're rowing at your 2K average plus 22 seconds. So if your average was bang on 2 minutes, then plus 22 would mean that you were rowing at 2 minutes 22 pace. And now that we're into this second minute of the warm-up, just make sure you're pushing out from the front with your legs. You've got that forward lean going on, and you're trying to hold that forward lean just as you connect with the legs to let that power go through. Now I'll talk more about technique and stuff as we get in today's main row, as being it's a good one to talk about technique. But in 2 strokes time, we're going to take 1 foot out and put it on the floor, okay? And then continue rowing. This is a great drill just to help with the flexibility and compression into the front of the machine. Like sometimes you can't get into the right position with both legs strapped in. But with just the one in, you're not fighting against lack of flexibility across two legs. Let's swap feet, continue rowing. It's also a good way to really help think about your posture and your position to the front of the machine so that you don't do that collapse at the front. Again, today's row is going to give you time to think about all this kind of stuff, and then before you know it, 30 minutes will be over. Okay, both feet in, straight legs, and just row with your back and arms. So swing over your hips and pull in your arms, and then push out your arms and swing back over your hips. Remember, this is about rocking backwards and forwards over your hips. It's not about bending your lower or upper back. Okay, let's roll into the front of the machine with straight arms and just press out with your legs. Don't have to worry about going too far. All you're trying to do is get that foot press into the machine, timed with the point when you pick up the flywheel or water wheel, etc., while keeping your arms straight and that forward lean. One more? Yeah. All right. All done on the warm-up. Yes, watch, I am rowing. Very nice. Okay, keep moving up and down the rail. Make sure to have a quick drink. I'll quickly go over what we're doing today one more time, and then we'll get straight into today's session. Okay then, so today we're going to do a 30-minute row, but we're going to break it up into chunks of 4 minutes and then 1 minute. Now that 4 minutes you're going to do at 20 strokes per minute and at 2k plus 18 pace. And then the 1 minute afterwards you're going to do it 15 strokes a minute, but still at 2k plus 18 pace. Now when it comes to programming your monitor, you've got a couple of options for doing this. You could just load up a 30-minute row and just go for it, okay? And that'll give you a nice 30-minute result at the end of it. Or you could program an interval workout as 4 minutes and then 1 minute with no rest in between. Or if you're using the ErgZone app, you can look for the RA icon, and under that as RA15, you will find today's row. It's again split up into that 4 minute and 1 minute chunk. I'm not entirely sure whether there'll be a slight delay introduced by doing it this way. Just make sure to think about this one from a technique point of view. Keep that pace up for the 15 strokes a minute. You're going slower stroke rate, but you can then put in that little bit extra power in order to get you back up, which should be quite nice and welcomed. And there's a slightly different way to do the power strokes thing as well. So here we go then. So we're going to get into our first 4 minute interval at 20 strokes per minute and at 2k plus 18 pace. Follow me for stroke rate either on the video, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you should just hear the whoosh of my flywheel, and after a little while it'll just become the kind of, you'll ground in the stroke rate rhythm anyway, and it all should be good. Okay, here we go then, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So 1 stroke every 3 seconds for 20 strokes a minute. So that's pretty handy. You can just watch the counter go down. Now the one good thing I suppose about doing this as an interval workout is that you're not actually just looking at 30 minutes counting down. So for instance right now I'm just watching 4 minutes counting down. So I'm not facing into a 30-minute row and thinking, oh, can I be bothered rowing that long today? So from a mental point of view, it works quite well. The more I'm doing these, the more I just realize your brain plays tricks on you. It starts to tell you you can't manage things, and the moment you see a vast chasm of time or distance in front of you, you start to second guess. I say you, I mean me. Second guess whether it's an option or not. Anyway, so this first 4 minutes, just lock into 20 strokes a minute and 2K plus 18. And just start to think about your body position. If nothing else, really trying to think about this forward lean at the front of the machine and trying to hold it as you push with the legs. Because as we go down to the 15 strokes a minute stroke rate, you're going to have to put in a little bit more of a shove with your legs to make up the pace. And so that extra power will just flow uninterrupted through your body if you hold this forward lean as you do it. You need to have straight arms as well. Nice and, well, just braced against the force. You're not tense. You're just making sure the power locks through your arms. Because really what I don't want is for you to swing your back too soon, which then loses you that power flow, but also because you're putting more power through your body, I don't want it to all go through your lower back, which is what happens when you swing back too soon. So, swinging back too soon plus normal power has the potential for injury. Swinging back too soon plus extra power really has the potential for injury. Okay, so in 4 strokes time, we're going to drop to 15 strokes a minute. 2, 1, so 1 stroke every 4 seconds coming up. 1. And try and hold your 2K plus 18 pace. Might take a little while to get locked into stroke rate and being able to put in that power. I know I'm struggling right now to hit my numbers. This is a lot harder than it looks. There we go, finally. So next time round, I'll have to be a lot more precise about laying in more power. Okay, we're going back up to 20 strokes a minute. Here we go. Well, that was interesting. Didn't expect that to be quite as loose a challenge to get my pace correct. I really thought it would have been a bit more of a natural, just an little extra shove from the legs. But actually, by the end, in order to hit the right pace, I was having to properly lay in some power there. I'm sure my own workouts shouldn't surprise me as much. It's like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't remember doing the test workout for this and it being so hard to hit the pace kind of early into the interval. Maybe my technique was off. Maybe my legs are just a bit, they've got the edge knocked off them. after yesterday's week 2 session 4. That certainly was a toughie. So, the point being that you hold that forward lean as you drive with the legs until you're about halfway through the leg drive. And then that's when you release your back and swing from that forward lean into the opposite backward lean. Now I'm very much in favour of symmetry here, where you lean into 1 o'clock and then just flip the position and lean back to 11 o'clock. You will see some rowers who finish with a much deeper layback, but I really think the efficiency that you lose in terms of stroke rhythm and stuff by going so far back, I think it kind of counteracts the extra force you're getting into the stroke. But then maybe that's because I'm a lightweight without the extra muscle and power. Maybe if I was a 6'8" heavyweight, I'd be like, yeah, lean back as far as you can. It doesn't work for me. Okay, so in 6 strokes, we're going to go back to 15s. And this time, let's use our memory of last time to try and get there right from the start. Okay, here we go with 15s. 1. And use the recovery time through these strokes to really set yourself up into each stroke. So your drive time has to be quick in order to get the pace right, but then you've got a good 3 seconds to set your body into the right position for the next stroke. 1 more here. Now we're back up to 20 strokes a minute. There we go. That one seemed to be a bit smoother due to making in that real effort to drive out at the front with a lot more force and really speed up that drive speed. After all, the more force you put into it, the faster your drive speed should be. So, I was talking about the recovery on that last 1 minute blast and how you use it to set up your body position ready for the next stroke. So you finish the stroke in that backward lean and the handle in at your chest. I hope we all agree on that at least. Height of the handle. Again, I prefer around about sternum height. Some people tend to go higher, almost up to throat height. Whereas I prefer the muscle efficiency of just bringing it straight in a straight line from the front of my machine into sternum height. But then you release the handle at the same height, and that kicks off your forward lean back over your hips. And that should put you in the perfect body angle even before you bend your knees to slide into the front of the machine. So hands back, knees. Make sure to get your hands over those knees before you bend them to slide into the front of the machine. But once you start that slide, if you can have your body leaning in and with straight arms, you don't have to do anything weird. It's not like you're sliding, still tilting back, and then have to launch and lurch forwards at the front. After all, that's my biggest issue, is getting to the front and then having a little extra lunge forwards. It causes a huge power leak. Anyway, 5 strokes to go and we're back to 15s. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Push it to get to 2K plus 18 again. Don't worry if the monitor takes a while to respond to your pace. It's still trying to work itself out based on the 20 strokes a minute rate that you were just doing. It's better. Keep on pushing through those legs. Make sure you're nicely set body-wise for the next stroke. One more here. Here we go. Back to 20 strokes a minute. That's us halfway, isn't it? That's good. Certainly a good undulating workout. And I mean, really, don't have to throw in these 15 strokes a minute chunks. The main reason they're there is just to keep it interesting for you, dear viewer. The amount of times was just straight 30 minutes at 20 strokes per minute or 40 at 18, etc. And although those workouts might be physically slightly more beneficial, I think mixing things up with power strokes and rate changes, or even doing like 12 times 3 with, oh sorry, 3 times 12 with 1 minute rests. It all just keeps it a bit more interesting, less stagnant. And I mean, if you're a club level on the water rower or whatever, then you'll be used to doing 30 minutes at 20 strokes a minute. But if you're just a indoor rower on your journey to be sub 8, sub 7, whatever, you might not have had those 30-20s properly ground into you to a point that you don't mind doing them and don't get bored by them. So this workout today is more about mental stimulation on top of that fitness boost. And it must be said, the 1 minute of extra effort will make your heart rate rise. And an undulating heart rate has been proven to be very beneficial for cardio fitness and fat burning. So I'm not saying this is the one to buddy up next to session 4 all the time, but it's certainly one to come back to because it's interesting and good for you in more ways than one. All right, 6 strokes to go, and then we'll hit our next 15s at 2K plus 18. Same pace you're rowing now. One more. Here we go. Really take this time on the recovery to get into that position. It's going to feel like an eternity rolling down the slide towards the front of the machine. But that eternity is giving you the time to make sure as you drive out the front, you're in the right position. It's also a good hard shove. It's a good tough stroke. All right, back to 20. 2K plus 18. Now there's more to talk about for stroke technique, but really the main thing I want to impress is posture. So that's where the power is kind of controlled or lost. And what I mean by posture is that when you come in to the front of the machine, I want you to be sitting up on your sit bones, okay? Not slumped and weak, but up and strong, prepared to take the force of the next stroke. And it helps to think about that hip rock tilting your hips forwards at the front, but also paying attention to what happens at the back of the stroke, where you need to be braced and powerful. And although your hips will tilt backwards, they don't tuck under you. So if you feel your tailbone rounding underneath your hips, then that posture that I'm on about isn't there for you. And what can be the cause of that is tugging on the foot straps with your feet, either at the end of the stroke because your sequencing isn't quite right, or because you're tugging yourself back up the rail again with the foot straps. And in both cases, what happens is as you tug yourself forwards, your knees pop up and you have to lift the handle over your knees. Your hips or your tailbone is tucked under, hips still pointing backwards, but not in the good way. It's almost like they're actually still straight up, but your tailbone's underneath. So that's not right. So try not to tug on the foot straps at the end of the stroke. All right, 6 strokes to go. Then we do our second last set of 15s. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Lay in that power. Take your time on the rail. You don't want to go so far that your backside starts to escape from underneath you. So use the time to slide up the rail and then instantly push out from the front with no pause. You should be in the right position. Should be an instant change of direction from forwards to backwards. One more. Ooh, these are tough. Back to 20 strokes and 2K plus 18. This is our last set. And I hope you'll agree that the last 25 minutes has flown by, and this next 4.5 will just sail by too. It's part down to breaking everything up into smaller chunks, but I'd also hope, partly because I'm keeping you going, talking away to you means you can shift your attention onto me rather than the clock in front of you and worrying about the row in its entirety. I mean, I've come to realise I'm in a much more positive place with my rowing when I make these videos for you. Negativity as to whether I can complete the workout or not never enters my head. Even on yesterday's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, which was 16 minutes worth of rowing at 2k rate and pace. If I sat down to do that, we're just listening to Dead Mouse on my headphones or something, I do wonder whether I would have performed quite as well. But because my attention is on you instead of on me, I don't have room to think about the negative side of, am I going to complete this or not? So what I'm saying is, not just in this workout, but all of the row-alongs, I'm hoping that my constant chatter partly helps because I'm talking about technique and motivation and things, but also just because by watching the video or listening to the podcast and just letting what I say grab your attention, even if it is just half attention, but hopefully it's enough to banish that negative focus that can sometimes creep in. Which is why talking is better than just playing music at you. Okay, 2 strokes to go. One more. It's our last 15s, here we go. Finish strong. Remember what I said, slow slide, and then try and work on that timing at the front. Get those feet down and push out from the front with your forward lean and connect with the flywheel at the same time as your feet push into the machine. Almost there. 4, 3, come on, finish strong with these last 2. Let the power flow. This is where I find it goes into 4 minutes again and I miscounted. Nope, we're fine. I mean, it's those 1 minute chunks are definitely hard work. They're kind of rising this workout out of the bottom and towards the mid tier, but because it's only 1 minute long and you then go back to the 20 strokes a minute, that's what still keeps it at bottom. But those 15 strokes a minute, trying to maintain your pace, are really important. I mean, I found the first interval I wasn't quite hitting the times because I just wasn't putting in enough of a shove from my legs. So if you find that you weren't ever anywhere near the right time, then it's going to be that. It's going to be because all that force has to come out. You're not using your stroke rate for speed, you're using the power from your legs for speed. It's a really important thing to learn. So yeah, but don't worry, the next session in the 2K Redux plan is going to be on the lighter side of mid to make up for the 4, 5, 6 transition that's been quite a tough end to week 2 for sure. Right, shall we go into a 2 minute cool down? So let me load it up. Where are you? RA2, no, that's 3. 2, there we go. Man on phone. Right, there we go, 2 minutes. So just a nice 2-minute cool down, just rowing along at 18 strokes a minute in 3, 2, 1, go. So just connect with your muscles. Pace, if you really want to think about it. Let's go back down to 2K plus 30. So all you're really doing is making sure your legs connect as you push back. You're still thinking about that timing of the legs connecting and the handle connecting with the flywheel. And if you switch your monitor to the force curve, that's the best way to really see if you're managing that timing or not. Because if you have like the leg press then the handle, you'll tend to see a little jolt up the force curve. And if you do the handle then the legs, you'll see a kind of a sudden rise up, because you'll be pulling with your arms first and then getting the power in. It's a useful tool. It's the second button down on the Concept 2 on the monitor. Maybe your rower has a different way to get to it. Maybe you don't have force curve, in which case, sorry about that. You'll have been, what's he on about? Force curve? This man's gone mad. So, a good workout today. I feel it's one worth bookmarking and coming back to, because it's a bottom tier that lets you push a little bit harder. And if you're looking for that kind of the ease of a 20 strokes a minute, but you do want to push a little bit, then this is the one to do. Probably more so in this than any of the power strokes where you maintain stroke rate and try and push harder. That's my 2 minutes up. You can keep on going, of course, but it's your choice. Whew, so there we go. Hopefully that worked as a fantastic standalone workout if you just came and just chose it as an option. Or if you're doing this within the 2K Redux plan, then that's a really good kind of topper-upper after yesterday's workout. I didn't want to put it too low, just because I want to build on what you did yesterday, or the day before, whenever you did week 2, session 4. So that's why I'm saying that session 6, that will be a mid-tier workout, will be one of the bottom mids rather than one of the higher up mids. I mean, listen, did I really think out this bottom, mid and top thing properly? Probably not, but it's too late now, we're in it. We're in it. So today, if you want to give it a number, I usually say the bottom tiers are kind of around about 5 or 6 out of 10. This is probably like a 6.5, nudging up to 7 out of 10. But the mid tier that we do session 6 will be like a 7 or maybe like a 6.5. So we're just going to make up for it so that you don't get that energy depletion thing. Remember, it's really hard to overtrain, but it's really easy to under-recover. That's the way to think about it, okay? So I'm trying to make sure that session 6 gives you that chance to kind of glide into a good recovery before we kick off again into week 3. So thank you so much for putting up with me for yet another session. We're going to continue. The hashtag is still going to be Holly, because remember, my youngest daughter, Holly, if I get a certain amount of subscribers, she gets my old Apple Watch, and also means I can upgrade to the latest Apple Watch. And then, because really what I want to do is I want to get the Series 6 and then try out the Apple Fitness for rowing and then make a review video. So if you want to see that and get some subscribers in here, get some views, etc. So Holly can get this one, I can get a new one, and you can all see me reviewing Apple Fitness. Anyway, right, God, I'm going on for so long, aren't I? God, I might as well just tell you my entire life history. I was born, no. Thank you so much for doing this one. I will see you in another workout, whether it's the next week 2 session 6, or whether it's just one of the other workouts in my library and you look and go, what's with your hair? What are you talking about? What's that PDP on the wall? What's happened? I'll see you in the next one. All right, stay safe, be well. Bye-bye.